Are we recording? Are we there?
Are we?
We're there. Yes, we are.
Hi.
Okay. Let's see. So we can edit all this out. So I have that already recorded. Okay. Are we ready? Okay.
Are we ready?
I'm going. Our guest today is my incredible friend. I almost feel like calling you my life partner, Devin Parr. Devin and I met working for a Minodier designer in Beverly Hills in 2001. And we've been friends like family ever since. But before we dive in, I just must tell you guys a little bit about Devin. She is a phenomenal cook, the lucky wife to her always shirtless husband, Tim. There's a shout out. And mama to two beautiful boys. She's smart, pretty, and funny. Professionally, she's an entrepreneur, wine writer, and consultant. She earned her WSET diploma. And for the last 21 years that I've known her, she's been an aspiring ninja. Except she's not aspiring anymore. In just the past 2 years, Devin has managed to work her way to a brown white belt in karate, a journey she says has offered her a whole new perspective and has been a journey inspired by her kids. Thank you, Devin, for joining me today.
I actually do karate with a girl named Day. So every time someone calls her Day, I think of you.
Oh, that's nice. So every day, every day.
Every day I think of you and Day and my nickname Day. Those a lot of days.
That's good. Okay, I'm going to kick us off with my first question. What's the most inspiring or encouraging thing you've ever heard or someone's told you?
So I'm going to rework your question because we're besties and I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, you can.
No, I want to talk about what inspires me on a daily basis. And this is going to at first sound super cliche. It's my kids, but there's two reasons. It's not just my kids because they're, a delight, even though they drive me to drink and karate chop. But my kids, because there's two things they do that are incredible to me. And I think adults have a lot to learn from. Number one is their ability to move on from an unpleasant situation.
Totally.
So think about adults, like we fight or we're in a sit with our husband or our spouse or our partner, and we cannot let it go. And it can go on for days. Like we'll stew, we don't move on. When I yell at my kids or there's an unpleasant situation between the two of them, they're brothers, I'm always amazed at how quickly they can bounce back from that. Mm-hmm. There's no grudge. They're sulking all the time in my house, but it's not they don't hang on to angst and unpleasantness and resentment like adults. And I'm sure they will at some point in their lives and we'll all be in therapy over it. But
yeah, there's a time and a place.
They bounce back quickly.
Oh,
right. The second thing they do, so we just moved to Temecula and they started a brand new school. And I just watched them go up to kids and introduce themselves. They're so open to new experiences, and it kind of ties into, I think, what we're going to talk about. But I'm always inspired by the fact that they can put themselves out there and sure, maybe they feel awkward, but they seem to jump into new things far better than we do as adults.
Right. And if presented with conflict, they don't require the same weird amount of closure that sometimes adults do. I mean, maybe. Well, I'm so glad.
I mean, like weeks worth of closure.
Weeks. And how many, therapy sessions upon weeks. That's okay. It's what it's there for.
I'm still mad about stuff with my husband from like 5 years ago. So,
Well, Tim and I can discuss some of this when I have him on.
Yes.
If he'll join me. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. And you were the first person who popped into my mind when I was thinking about starting this podcast, because all of this started with me watching my two boys lately. And also really sticking their necks out there, like well past any established comfort zone that they had in the past. And they're stepping into these leadership roles. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. That's what a mom does, is I want to see them do this and try their hand at new things. But then as a mother, I'm kind of like, well, what about me? Like, surely my evolution isn't over, right? Like I'm encouraging my kids to do these things. And I'm not exactly practicing what I preach all the time. And I definitely have things that I've walked away from out of fear that I regret. But I remember you jumping into your karate journey, and I'll let you say, but walk us through James's first karate lesson, because I distinctly remember you posting something on Instagram and asking yourself, like, watching, I can just see like, wait a minute, this was my dream. Like, this is something that I was always super into. So tell us how this all went down.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know me, like I have been a diehard wannabe ninja for as long as I can remember. And Kill Bill, that franchise, is my favorite movie. And I walk around the house doing weird karate moves. And Lindsay here even bought me a samurai class back when I lived in New York. So I did a sword class.
All I want to see is you carrying that through the streets of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, but like New York City is full of weird people with like cats.
That's true. You blended right in, let's be honest.
Yes, no one even looked twice. So James wanted to sign up for karate, or we wanted to sign him up for karate. Somehow we landed on the fact that we were going to put him in martial arts lessons. And we saw maybe 4 or 5 different dojos. We went to a jiu-jitsu studio, which I was not in love with, went to a few other karate studios. And then we found one right near our house called Champion Eyes. And Tim took him to his first trial lesson. Tim's my husband. Took him to his first trial lesson. And then he came home and he was like, I think this might be it.
Oh.
So I went to the next one to kind of check it out. And I walk into this place and it's massive. I mean, it's like a full, like, I feel like I've walked into Japan.
Oh my gosh.
There's Japanese drum music playing. There's incense burning. There's candles lit. I mean, it's the full experience. There's swords up on the wall.
Oh my gosh.
And, samurai helmets everywhere. I mean, it's just incredible.
The whole environment.
So I walk in, the whole environment, and, this yelling and yes, sirs, and lots of kiais, which is the sort of yell you make when you're conquering an opponent or, showing your energy.
Oh my gosh.
So I just walked in and I was like, nope, this is it. Hands down. Absolutely.
Sold.
I'm watching. Yep, sold, done. Like, where do I sign? And so I'm watching it happen, and I'm watching what they're doing, and I'm like, I can feel myself like getting into it, like backseat punching, so like doing the moves over here behind the on the benches. So I thought, you know what, like it's time. I watched a few classes, and I was like, don't just talk about it, be about it.
Wow.
So
how many classes? Just 2 or 3, and you were in, or was it like more of a build up than that? I mean, I know you were sold mentally, but like till you were in there in your, what's it called? Your outfit. I don't know what their outfits are called.
My gi.
Sorry.
Yes, my gi.
I don't mean to be disrespectful.
I think like three classes later, I think I got my gi.
You were in it.
Yes. Signed up. I was in.
When did you first notice this curiosity and interest in martial arts? Like for you, like before, because obviously I knew to buy you a class and a sword.
And that was what, like 10, 12 years ago?
That was at least 10 or 11 years ago. But I remember this in 2001. So I'm just wondering when this started for you.
To be honest, I can't think of the day it became an interest.
Okay.
It's like I was just born with it. And what's weird is that as I go through this karate experience, I would not in a million years say that this has come naturally to me. And, there's been plenty of things in my life, plenty of sports in my life that really, like I rode horses when I was younger.
Right.
And that was one of those sports that just clicked with me. And I was good at it from day
right.
one. Karate has not been that for me. It has been uncomfortable, difficult,
right.
but it feels like it's been in my heart from day one.
Yeah.
So I just feel like this has been in me. I can't remember a moment where I was like, that's cool. I'm interested in that. It's just always been there. And I saw, I've seen The Last Samurai and martial arts movies where I'm like, yes, this
is my calling.
Right.
Well, you certainly must have, compelled to stick with it because it didn't come, it wasn't easy, but you've had broken toes, you've had busted nails, you got hit in the face by your instructor. So by
my sensei.
By your sensei. Okay.
Who denied it?
That was brave of you.
But I got it on video.
I know, but like for you to even put yourself in these positions, that's like courage, yes, but you're also like actively pursuing this and getting your butt handed to you at the same time.
I think what I would say is that it's so incredibly refreshing.
Yeah.
To be new again at something, to be the new girl. And, this goes back to this notion of our kids sort of putting themselves out there and
totally
being fearless. So every morning before we go to school, we do our man family team cheer. And it goes, being brave means you're scared, but you do it anyway.
Amazing.
Team man, 1, 2, 3, go get 'em. But it's a theme in our house of if something scares you, all the more reason to put yourself out there and try it.
Right.
And just because you're scared doesn't mean it's the end of the world. To sort of embrace that fear, and that's really what bravery and courage are.
Right.
Is acting in the face of fear. So for me, I've learned so much about myself being new again and being humbled, and again, not being good at it, not automatically being good at it, having to really work at it. I think it's taught me a different level of resilience and vulnerability.
Right. Oh, I love that idea.
Served me in my personal life.
I love that idea of being vulnerable too, because we become so hardened by, we as adults, we've been chopped down so many times from things that didn't go our way, or we lost focus on something, or we stopped trying, or so just to, keep your head in the game like that, even when you're scared. But I think the impact and it's like so full circle because your kids are watching you do this at the same time. So it's kind of like when they get a little low in the tank, they're still looking at mom over here who's, working hard at something that, number one, didn't come easily. And sorry about that. And it's kind of like Josh and I were talking about how the team man cheer has sort of infiltrated Team Stewart's home also.
Good. I think everyone should do it.
I'm an honorary member of the man family anyway. But
100%.
But he was, because I've been very scared before, and he just kind of laid it out the other day, a while back. But, how good is it to be scared at something and never pursue it at all, and to fail because you didn't even try? Like, it's way cooler to stick your neck out there and try. And failing is embarrassing, but it's humbling. But what if you don't fail? Like, you would never know if you didn't even try. So it's like, how boring to just sit there and assume that something wouldn't work. Like, it's much better to go out and try it and see if you can make something happen with it. And you obviously did.
Well, I kick myself every day that I didn't start 10 years ago, when every part of my body didn't hurt, and, I'll do a weird jump thing and worry that I'm going to
break your back.
Something. So it's like, right. And like, kids don't care.
Right.
They're rolling around. And we did a karate seminar last weekend with my sensei,
okay.
Who is turning 80, and he's
Excuse me?
every black belt movie, every karate movie.
Oh man.
He really is like a legend and is infinitely faster than any of us. But we were practicing like takedowns and throws, and it was just at 42 years old getting slammed on the mat. I couldn't move for like the next 3 days. It sounds so scary. But it's exhilarating.
It's like a hangover these days that just don't go away.
Yeah, the 5-day hangover we all know about. Right?
Yeah. So I guess 5-day hangover. I like that. How do you okay, so you're at white, brown belt or brown, white belt? Or,
brown, white.
Okay.
I've been invited to test for my brown belt.
Hello.
This week. I think
so
Wednesday.
How do you feel when it's time? So you've been invited to test. How do you feel like the days leading up to this? I mean, is all of the routine and ceremony, because I've seen your videos and it's like the most well choreographed like dance routine I've ever seen. And it looks natural. Like, it looks like you could be freestyling it, but it's like, I know that there's ceremony and it's purposeful. And like, I know what you've put into this, but I think my point is you've done it in a way that it's effortless. I mean, it looks effortless. It's like you just are on autopilot. I'm telling you, but how do you do that? And how do you calm yourself? Like, how do you prepare for this? And how are you feeling?
Lots of nervous poop.
Okay. I was going to say, how are you feeling?
Yeah. Yes, nervous poop for sure.
Right.
And I always joke with my co-karate gal Day. It's like, first, why do we do this? And it's crazy anxiety the day of. And I've been with other people in our dojo, and they're just like, whatever, it's like a really hard workout, and it's just another day, and it'll be over. And
well, yay for them.
Deal. And I'm like, what? So it's crazy anxiety, but the beauty is, I'm not getting up and giving a speech. I'm getting up and working my body.
Right.
And so a great way to get through that anxiety is obviously kicking and punching and yelling and running and working.
Okay.
When it comes down to performing a kata, and I think that's what you're talking about.
A kata. Okay.
It's called a kata. Yeah, it's basically so who described it as like fighting an imaginary enemy. And it's this whole routine where you are essentially fighting an imaginary enemy with certain moves. And then there's something called the bunkai, which is the application. So you would show actually what you are doing versus that person.
Wow.
That was a terrible description of it, but we are asked to perform 1 or 2 during bell testing. And that for me is the scary part, because it is for all intents and purposes, somewhat choreographed. There's very specific moves and forms and I don't know, there's like a whole
How long does it take?
Series of things you do. The very beginner katas are, 20 seconds. Up until when you're at a higher belt level, they can be a couple minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And they're very athletic, and it's this moving meditation where you are using your mind and your body at the same time. And it has to convince the viewer that you really, truly are fighting.
Oh man.
But your form has to be perfect, and
I can see the precision.
It's an incredible mind-body experience.
Right. But like, even the way, I'm kind of your stalker, but I'm also your friend, so it's okay. Like, I've seen you in some of these videos, and I'm even looking at, oh gosh, her foot is pointed ever so slightly to the left. And then you'll do the routine sort of, I guess, mirrored on the other side. And your foot does the same thing. It's like she's got this right down to her pinky toe. I noticed.
I would like you to send this to my sensei.
Okay.
Because he literally will watch me and be like,
he's not impressed.
That looked like shit.
Beep. Does he really give you the?
Yeah, it's better, but it still needs work.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And watching my own kata back to me is like literally like 2 stars. Do not recommend. Like the worst experience. Like I can't.
You can't do it.
It's how actors, I imagine, feeling watching
hypercritical. So you did touch on, getting a little anxious or your nervous poo before you do these. We've all had our bouts with anxiety over the years, and I know that you've worked really hard on this. Are you able to take these karate? You said it's like a moving meditation and a mind-body experience. Are you able to apply that to things that pop up in your professional world, or, situations with family, or situations that may cause some anxiety? Are you able to pull from this and it's like a full life experience?
Oh God. Well,
or is that a totally loaded
for me
question?
I know. I'm like, how long do we have?
I know.
Can we turn this into a therapy session?
We can do a part 2.
So physical movement and athleticism and sports for me have become my anti-anxiety.
Amazing.
So whether that's running, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's karate, yoga, it's a non-negotiable for me at this point in my life, because it's how I stay sane and it's how I sleep. In terms of applying lessons from karate to my daily life in battling anxiety, which, I want to obviously destigmatize talking about anxiety. I've struggled with it since probably my early 20s. And it's been a lifelong battle.
Right.
Truly, like managing diabetes or managing allergies or managing, a mental illness.
Right.
And so karate has forced me in many ways to find an outlet, right? Because karate is not just about kata. It's also about striking and kicking and really getting that intense energy and angst out.
Okay.
But there's also moments where you have to be very still and very quiet and hold certain poses that are very uncomfortable. So it's taught me to get even more comfortable with being deeply uncomfortable.
I see. Okay.
At the end of every belt testing, there is a moment, not a moment, it actually is like, it seems like a lifetime.
Oh.
You have to hold a certain pose with your arms out straight. You can't see because this is a podcast, but your arms are straight out with your wrists at a sort of 90-degree angle.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Sumo squat.
Naturally.
Like a squat. And you have to hold that for several minutes.
Wow.
It's sort of the final
That's at the end.
test. And it's at the end. And the higher you get in your belt rank, the longer you have to hold this.
Oh my gosh.
Pose. And you're exhausted and you're sweating and you're depleted and you're holding it. And it's probably, in my opinion, the hardest part of belt testing, because you it hurts.
Well, you've just spent everything you have.
Right. But it's taught me this will end.
Right.
This moment of discomfort will come to an end. I'm not going to be standing here all night unless, my sensei really wants to mess with us. But yeah, it will end, and you need to breathe through it and focus on something else. And
that's
I think that's a great lesson for dealing with discomfort in your real life.
Right. And absolutely a parallel to anxiety, because most of us have come out the other side of those moments with clarity. But when you're standing there in the thick of it, it's really hard to see in front of you. And just reminding yourself that even, I mean, that's a controlled environment where you can practice that. I think it's beautiful that you can then pull on that, you know, out in your real life, not your real life, but like outside of the dojo.
Like they're both kind of real life,
but like outside of the dojo.
Yes.
And then Tim joined, I think also, right? Is he in karate now too?
So Tim and Luke.
So it's a family
like
of
yes.
Everybody is in now.
Yes. So I joined.
Are you opening your own?
I know someday if I, have the actual credibility to
open a
dojo, I would love to. My husband joined, yes, a few months later. And then my youngest son, Luke, who is 5, was kind of watching, and he would do a few practice classes, but he is the ultimate
my boyfriend
who has to do things on his own time. Yes, he is. He loves.
I know that kind. I know that kind of kid, though. I have at least one.
Yeah, and I know that kind of husband because that is my husband. So Luke had to come to it on his own time, and he knew all the moves because he would watch James, his older brother. And finally, he was ready, and he has his purple white belt.
Oh
James
my
has
gosh!
his purple belt. Tim has his. I believe he was testing for his blue belt.
Amazing.
Basically, I outrank everyone in my family, and it drives them all crazy.
As you should.
Yeah.
I mean, get used to it, gang.
Of this house.
I have another question, and this is so silly, but do you practice karate or do you do karate? Because, like, what's the proper terminology here? I'm a yogi. I practice yoga. What do you do?
See, this is why I don't have a black belt, because I actually couldn't tell you that.
Oh,
and I'm
shoot.
sure at some point I will need to.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
You know what? What do I do? Do I do karate? I do karate.
You do karate.
It's like
you do karate.
I practice karate. I practice karate a lot,
right?
Like many days a week. But I don't know if it's do karate or practice karate. That's
what
I'm going to ask.
Yeah, let's ask that, and then you can let me know, because I'm super. That was one thing where even like in preparing for this episode, I was thinking I don't want to foul her up and say the wrong thing, but if you don't know either, then we're okay.
Then we're okay.
Yeah.
It's like, do you even karate, bro? Like, I'm just going to start that.
Yeah. Or I figured that it wasn't maybe even the karate word. There was another word I was supposed to be using. You could have told me anything right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shows how much I know.
So now I have ready, set, go Q&A for you. I have the same 10 short, one word if you can, or like a little phrase. Okay. Question number 1. What smell do you love?
The smell of a summer morning.
What smell do you hate?
My husband's oatmeal and peanut butter and cinnamon that he makes like 3 times a day, and it makes me want to barf. Every time.
I can smell it now.
It sounds delicious, but it's so gross. Like
If Devin's friends know, they know.
The oatmeal loves.
What's your favorite feature?
No sugar, no butter, no cream, nothing. Just peanut butter. It's like wallpaper paste on steroids.
Oh my gosh, yes. He does it just to prove that he can do it every day. It tastes that badly. 3 times a day. What's your favorite feature of yourself?
My sense of humor.
What's your least favorite feature?
I don't know if you meant physical, but did you mean physical?
You can interpret these however you want.
Because then it's like my booty. I mean, my booty is solid.
Your booty is my favorite of you too.
Like legendary.
But this is your 10. You can answer these however you want. What's your least favorite feature?
My imposter syndrome. It's real bad.
Oh, okay.
Really bad.
Okay.
But if we're talking physical, I got a lazy eye. I don't know if, I kind of got a lazy eye.
Oh, okay. Didn't notice.
A little bit. I notice everything.
Oh, right. Okay. Where would you like to live?
Italy.
What you appreciate most in your friends?
Empathy.
What is your main fault?
I take literally everything very personally.
What shape is the sky?
It's round. And you know what? I was actually just talking about this with my husband.
Oh, really?
He's like, it's obviously rectangle. Because I thought like, everyone's going to say round.
It's
and
obviously.
He's like, no, it's rectangle. I was like, what?
Is the earth flat, Tim?
Right. So my brother's supposed to be rapid fire, but
that's okay.
I have to I have to digress for a second because there's a really funny meme out there that was like, you can't put soup away in a square Tupperware because the shape of soup is obviously round. And it's kind of like, that's how I see the sky. It's obviously round. Anyway.
Oh, I love that. It's, what does he say? It's obviously rectangle.
Like,
oh, Tim. I assumed cylindrical, like an oatmeal log, but whatever.
yeah.
Well,
but it stinks.
Yeah. What is your biggest fear?
Vomiting.
I could have answered that for you.
like more than death. More than, ask anybody who knows me. It's like, it runs my life.
Yes, it does.
This fear.
Last question. What word keeps you going?
Grit. I have it on my arm. No grit, no pearl.
I love it. Oh, Day, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. We hope everyone listening enjoyed our podcast, and we hope you feel energized, maybe inspired after hearing how Devin jumped into a dream that she had and fed her curiosity for martial arts. I hope you feel like you should go and try the thing that's burning questions in your mind, because we just can't have all these what ifs floating around. Right, Dee? They got to go. They got to do it.
No, but if you are interested in karate or self-defense or martial arts, look me up because I want to take you to a practice class.
Oh my gosh.
We'll do it virtually.
Take her up on this and she'll hold you to it. If you don't already follow
Still trying to do Girls Fight Club.
I think this is going to hold you to it because someone's going to hear this and be like,
Girls Fight Club.
Yep, it's happening. If you don't,
no, but we don't talk about it, right?
Oh, no, maybe we shouldn't. I forgot already. I won't be invited. If you don't already follow Devin on Instagram, she's the SoCal Wine Gal. So be sure and go and look her up and give her a follow. She posts info on wine, working out, her parenting adventures, and of course, her karate journey. If you don't follow me, you can look me up on the Good News Is podcast on Instagram or Free Range Free Range Mama on Instagram. If you enjoyed your time with us today, we would love if you could subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. If you have any ideas or questions or topics, you can send us a DM. Thank you for tuning in, Devin. Thank you for joining me. We could all use a positive nudge. I'm going to start crying. A friendly hug or a pat on the back. And we all need more good news. I can assure you of that. So thank you for listening and have a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you, Linz. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.